Hi everyone, it's me, Selena Hope, and today I'm going to talk about Beetlejuice, sequel to the 1998 original movie, Beetlejuice. Just a quick side note, we watched the original movie the night before the movie came out in theaters, and my mom and I made it a girls' night to go to the movies the next night. The rest of our family had to work, and they weren't really interested in going to the movies for that movie, so we made it a girls' night, and then we rewatched the movie last night with our entire family, and I have a lot of thoughts. First thought is, this sequel is not as good as the original, like, by any means. I was really excited for it when the first teaser came out. Just looked like a good Beetlejuice movie. It is a good Beetlejuice movie. It's just not as good as the original, in my opinion. Now, just a disclaimer: if you disagree with my opinion, that's good. That's your opinion. Don't let what I think affect you and how you feel about this movie. This is just my opinion. Anyways, starting off, I think that they changed too much about Lydia's character. In the first movie, she embraces her weird self. I understand that it's been 36 years, but you would think that the person would stay the same even though, like, they've evolved or, changed in some ways, but, you're still the same person, like, later on in life. I know that throughout the years for me, I've evolved. Although I am still the same person, I am still into the same things, but I have evolved as a person in some ways. Yeah, there are some changes, but I feel like they changed Lydia too differently. She went from embracing her weird self to kind of being ashamed of it and becoming kind of like a sellout to make a ghost show, which her character does in the movie. Warning, spoilers. I should have said this in the first minute, but spoilers. She becomes like one of those people who exploit or like become sellouts, and I thought that was kind of a betrayal to Lydia as a character in the first film, because she was okay with being weird, she was okay with being the outlaw, and now she's like ashamed of it, but she's kind of exploiting her gift in a way. But she's like taking pills in the bathroom, and then her weird boyfriend catches her, and like he himself as a character sucks. I hated his character, like, from the minute he walked in to the minute he left. I understand why they used his character. It's just I wanted less of him, and he was just annoying. And that ponytail, man, that I wanted to cut that thing off so much. My gosh. Another thing is, they decided to kill off the dad from the original movie in this movie because Tim Burton didn't want to work with the actor. He kind of did really messed up things in his life in the early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. I know he actually did what he did, but I don't know like when the timeline was, and I don't really want to get into it, but you should look up the actor's name and see why he is not as, he's not as involved in this movie. He is, like, not the actor, but his character is still involved in this movie, if that makes any sense. But they didn't want any, part. They didn't want anything to do with the actor himself. They still managed to make his character have a story without him being in it. But they did it in a way where they killed him off in an a claymation type of way, and Although I'm not a big fan of the fact that when they showed his grave, they actually used a photo of the actor, and they didn't try to change his look in the claymation. I mean, I understand that's like, it's the movie's way of telling you who he is, but you know that's Lydia's dad, and the least you could do is like give him gray hair so that you've seen that he's aged and he doesn't look the same as he did in 1998, and the claymation version of him looked exactly like how he did in the first movie, which is really weird to me, and I'm just not a fan of it. Well, I like the claymation animation part. I thought that was funny, and how they like killed off his character was funny, but I wasn't a fan of the fact that they used a picture of him in the movie. If anything, they should have just had the character's name on it, and it was very funny, like, because it was in the shape of how he was killed. He was killed by a shark, and the gravestone thing was in the shape of a shark fin thing, but they added a picture of the actor. I was not crazy about that little detail. I thought it was very funny by itself with the shark fin grave and his name being on there. I think that would have been enough. Another thing is, I really liked the story between Astrid and Jeremy. I thought that was like the best part of the movie. I thought that they had a good story with that, considering the fact that the beginning part of the movie, Astrid and Lydia are fighting. Like, Astrid thinks her mom is faking it, and because she has this like supposed gift of seeing dead people, but she can't see her dead father for whatever reason. Like, not Lydia's dead father, Astrid's dead father, Lydia's first husband, and Astrid is upset about this, and they start to fight more because of this, and Astrid kind of resents her mom in a way because she's so focused on the Ghost TV show and not so much of Astrid and seeing her father, or trying to. And then Astrid finds Jeremy because she crashed through his fence in his home, and they get to talking, and she like has a thing for him. I found that like a bit ironic. Like, she, like, in the first movie, Lydia is the oddball because she's so weird and gothic, and she like sees dead people. But in this film, Astrid is kind of the oddball because she doesn't agree with her mom, and she's not all for exploiting or making a ghost show kind of thing. So I found that like difference to be really unique and cool, and I really liked the storyline with her and Jeremy. Now, when I first watched this movie, I thought that the movie had rushed that storyline. I still think it did, but I can safely say that my second viewing of the movie was much better than the first. I think this movie is better off like watching it at home. I think like it wasn't a good experience in the movie theater, but it was a better experience at home. But I still enjoyed and had fun. I still enjoyed it when I went to the movies, and I still had fun with my mom. It was just somewhat of a disappointment, and I still think that it rushed the story with Astrid and Jeremy in this movie. There was just too many plots going on. They had Astrid and Jeremy. They had Astrid and Lydia's, relationship, which were both really good, especially Astrid and Jeremy. And they had a thing with Delia and wanting to see her husband after he died in a shark attack thing. And then they had Beetlejuice's ex-wife and actor who wanted to play a cop, which was really bizarre to me. Like, you already know that Tim Burton and especially Beetlejuice is like pretty bizarre movies, but I just feel like especially Dolores was kind of useless in this movie. Like, her story didn't even go anywhere really. Like, you could have cut out all of her scenes and scenes that have her mentioned, and it wouldn't have affected the movie at all. It wouldn't have changed anything. Like, that was probably the most unnecessary part of this movie. She looked cool. Like, the makeup was really cool, the dress was really cool, I admit, but she didn't add anything to the story. She was just kind of there. And Tim Burton has admitted that he put Dolores and really the actress in the movie because that's his real life girlfriend, and he wanted to show off her and how hot she was. Like, he had basically admitted that he added her in there just to show her off because she's like hot, which is kind of really bizarre to me. I don't think he should have added her character in there. She like added nothing to the story. Like, on paper it sounds cool, but on screen, like, it was just, where did the story go? Like, if you really think about it, even though on paper it sounds cool, but did it even go anywhere on paper? Like, no. And I just found out last night that the writers of this movie are the same writers who have written Wednesday and another TV show. And it kind of makes sense because there's so much plot with this movie. Like, there's too much plot. And I think also the wedding scene, Beetlejuice and Lydia should have gotten married. But the song choices they used for the wedding and how long it was pretty dragged out and made no sense. I know they were trying to do a callback on the first movie when they did, like, having everyone lip sync to a song, but in this scene it kind of didn't work because the song choice wasn't that good, and it dragged out for so long. Like, why did it need to be there? Why did it need to drag that long? And the reason why Lydia had to marry Beetlejuice was because Astrid got herself in a sort of pickle where she accidentally agreed to trade her life so that the boy, Jeremy, could come back to life, because he was later, like, he was pretty quickly exposed, or I don't know the word for it, but it was revealed that he was actually a ghost and that he killed his parents, and he accidentally killed himself by falling off his tree, and he tricked Astrid into trading her life for his, and to save her, Lydia agreed to marry Beetlejuice. But then as soon as Astrid is free, it's quickly brushed off, and Astrid's like, well, you went against the terms. You let my mom go into the underworld when you shouldn't have, so that makes your marriage void. Like, that was, like, random first, and it just makes Lydia seem untrustworthy because she agreed to marry Beetlejuice to save her daughter, and then as soon as she gets her daughter free, like, she's like, cool, I don't have to marry you. And it's just, I just found it so unfair to, like, not only Beetlejuice but the movie. And like I said, there was just so much plot anyways. But for the most part, I enjoyed this movie. It's just there was too much plot. Dolores and that actor cop guy should have gotten deleted from the film. Their stories and arcs made no sense, especially Dolores. And they shouldn't have dragged out the wedding scene the way that they did. And they should have made Lydia marry Beetlejuice. And for the love of Pete, They should have not let this dude have that hair. I hated this boyfriend, her boyfriend's hair, and him as a character. He was over the top, but it was funny, but I hated the character, and I hated his hair. I wish they would have cut it. Why did they let him have a little ponytail that was so ugly? I don't get it. But I wouldn't give this movie, like, out of 5 stars, I would say it deserves a 3 out of 5 star. But out of 10 stars, I would give it a 7 out of 10. Did I love this movie? No. Did I like it? Yeah. Would I be quick and rush to watch this movie again sometime in the near future? No. I can say that for the first movie, I would rush to watch it again, but for the sequel, it kind of is a letdown still. But I still had fun with it. It's just I wish I could say I love the film, and I'm disappointed that I can't say I love the film, but I only like it. You know what I mean? I will wait a while to watch this movie again, but I think the movie's good. It's just not great like the first film, which is really disappointing. But I do have to say, though, a lot of people really hate the angsty, like, argumentative teenager thing, and I agree with that trope, especially nowadays. But I really think Jenna Ortega and Astrid as like a whole in this addition to the Beetlejuice world, I think it actually worked this time around because of the relationship between Astrid and Lydia, and just how different they are in this movie, but how they kind of come to an understanding near the end of the movie. Another thing I was not really crazy about was the ending. Like, the movie, like, you already know going into a Beetlejuice movie is going to be bizarre. So there's kind of things that you have to, like, look past and, you know, kind of turn your brain off for a minute, because Beetlejuice, at least in the first film, didn't rely so much on plot. For whatever reason, this movie decided to go lean towards plot more than, you know, actually, like, the fun parts of the movie, which is really weird to me. I found that ending to be so bizarre. Like it was, like, over the top. Like, what the heck? Like, you've already gone through, like, so much bizarreness in this movie. Did you really need to add a scene that was kind of unnecessary? I mean, I understand that they want to open up, like, in case they want to make a third movie, that there's a reason for it to be there, but the way that they ended it was so bizarre to me. Like, how, like, you have to turn off your brain a little bit with Tim Burton movies, especially with Beetlejuice, but that was even too much for me. Like, a baby Beetlejuice, like how? Like, I don't get it. You know, was it supposed to say that the whole thing with Lydia bonding with her daughter, and then her daughter finding a boy and marrying him and, you know, starting a family, was that just, like, all a dream? Because she, like, kind of wakes up, and then Beetlejuice is, like, right there. Like, I hate how nightmares are, like, this and that. And then she actually wakes up and he's not there. So I think they did open it up for, like, a third movie, and if they wanted to do that, there was a reason for it. I just wish it wasn't as weird or bizarre as it was. And that's coming from me. I love weird and bizarre movies, but even that was a bit too much for me. But like I said, I didn't like the fact that they had so much plot. Like, they had 2 characters that could have been erased and not changed, so that you could focus on the other stories. Like, there was too much plot in one movie, and it feels like it was supposed to be a TV show. And it makes sense, because, like I said, last night I realized and found out that the writers wrote the TV shows Wednesday and other shows. So if this was like a sequel show to the movie, that would have worked. But for a movie, it's just too much story for a Beetlejuice movie, and I wish they would have just focused on Astrid and Jeremy and Lydia and their relationship, and they didn't add those two characters, and they didn't make Lydia from being okay with being goth to being ashamed of it and quote unquote haunted by it. And that is just like this is the only thing I didn't like about this movie. And I wish they would have changed and at least focus the story where it was at its best, and not rush the best part to focus on the wife, especially. Because I feel like they rushed the plot with Astrid and Jeremy just to go back to the ex-wife of Beetlejuice, and that's kind of disappointing to say. But like I said, out of 5 stars, I give it 3. But out of 10, I give it a 7. If that makes any sense. But that's all I gotta say. God bless and bye.